like to start off by asking our guests about their passion. Because I like to say that Zesty Living is about where passion, purpose, and practical action align. You know, where what you're passionate about and what you believe your purpose to be meets up with action that keeps you on track. Now, the fourth P is prosperity, because we all want that too, but passion, purpose, and practical action, and prosperity for good measure. Because I think, whatever that looks like to you, it looks like that it's something different probably for all of us. But Janice, tell us, how did you discover, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you came to find yourself where you are? You know, what were your major milestones finding your way to your passion?
My journey has been over many years. I've had many callings. My first one was to be a social worker, and I was a probation officer for the County Juvenile Court for like 10 years. And there I started learning to connect with people. You know, this is all retrospect. I don't think I knew that while I was doing it, but I really learned to tune into people. And I started recognizing an ability to be able to connect and to move a conversation up the food chain so that you could get a person out of their circumstances. From then, I changed careers and I went into business. And I got my MBA and went and did the whole corporate sales and marketing bit for about another 10 years. And there I became very successful in sales because, again, I would tune into a person and sort of mirror back to them whatever it is they were looking for. So it usually was a problem, and I'm helping to help to create creative solutions to whatever problems that were in front of them. And within sales, it also had a product that was attached to it. But it was, again, the ability to relate and to hook into a person. Somewhere along in the corporate world, there was lots of stress, just the regular 9 yards. And I started making gift baskets for my friends. And I would give them away, and they go, "Oh, these are wonderful. How did you know that I wanted that? How did you know this was what I wanted?" And I thought, well, that's obvious, you know. It's written all over you. And they would say, well, you know, I got to give a gift to someone. If I pay you, would you, do the gift for me? And so I'd say, tell me a little bit about the person. And then they would have the same experience when they gave the gift away. And it wasn't long before a TV producer saw some of my work, and she had me doing baskets for talent when they came into town for the hotel rooms, and I get the biggest compliments from people that had some fame, and that was really nice as well. Well, we moved from that. That same producer had she was also did production in a very large church that had a TV ministry. And it had a very large book center, about the size of this one. And it had windows. And she said, I want somebody to do the bookstore windows. I go, well, how do you get from basket to windows? But this person's a very visionary person. So she told me what she wanted, and I started doing the windows. And, I mean, even to this, it's been years since I've done the windows, but if I go to that church, people would say, well, she's the lady that does the windows, and they instantly know what windows we're talking about. But people passing the windows would say, could you come and do my home? And I went, but I'm not an interior designer. I'm not a designer. And I still was fighting not getting it. Also, while I was in corporate, I ended up doing one of the newscasters' kitchens here in Chicago. And I was incredibly nervous about that, because I just felt that I would be on, an expose. Don't let this designer, design problems gone bad. But instead, she paid me. She was instrumental in me beginning to embrace it, because she asked me, why are you still working at AT&T? And I go, because it pays my mortgage and my car note. And she said, well, you see, if I had your talent or your gifts, I would wait tables to be able to express it, and that always stuck with me. And it was several years later, I wish I could tell you that I, jumped out there and went to do this, but I got laid off, bottom line. And I got laid off right before 9/11. And 9/11, and right before that, the telecom industry was tanking in Chicago. So it was the market that I had just successfully, because I had just changed corporations, had successfully gotten a job, was all of a sudden within 6 months dried up. And I had the interior design. I had created the business by this time, but it was just, something that I did every once in a while on the side. And so I got to a point, I went to a conference. It was called The Possibility of Woman. And during that conference, it was a workshop. During the workshop, I came to the realization I was no longer looking for a job, but creating my business. And that was about 5 or 6 years ago. I also signed up for coaching with this particular, the woman who led these. That was very beneficial, because having an MBA and all, and I thought, well, how hard can this be? I'll run a business. It's easy. Do a business plan. You just run your business. Not at all. A totally separate set of principles that they don't teach you in business school, unless I'm sure if you have an entrepreneurial program, they probably do, which is more new. And just not having all of the infrastructure that you take for granted in the corporate world is not there, and you're doing everything, you're wearing every hat. So I ran into lots of frustrations in the beginning, and I needed someone who understood it. And she was my coach was also an entrepreneur, because she had started her workshops and had been very successful at them. And so it was good to have someone, not only did she do that, but she's single. Lots of my friends who were in businesses and people that I meet are married, and there is a dual income or another income. And it was just me. So it was important that I had somebody to relate to on the level of, okay, there really are no visible means of support here. How do you handle that? And I walked through it a day at a time. And from there I went back to school again. I know intuitively I can make space, it's wonderful. But I needed the credentials, and I needed to shortcut. It's hard learning everything from the ground up, and so design school gave me shortcuts and entree into different worlds, and it was easier to learn how to do things and put things together that way. So I did that for a couple of years while I was working my own business, and then one of my instructors, one of the things that I wanted to do was do model homes and upgrades. And I absolutely made that statement. I made it to another student because I wanted to formulate this as part of my business. Go out and market to developers, and let's try and do work this to be pretty good. And within 2 weeks of saying that, my instructor approached me about taking her job. She was leaving an assignment that she was working with a developer in.
Okay, so I'm going to stop Janice here just for a second, because she has articulated the laws, okay? She envisioned it, she held it, she spoke it, and then she remained true to it. That's the hardest piece. The hardest piece, I think, is being willing to hold on to it.